Ambassador Lyra Hale had survived assassins, riots, and 11 interstellar wars. But tonight, as she guided a trembling group of alien refugees into the shuttle bay, she felt something she had not felt in years: fear. The Dominion gunships were already punching through the clouds of the sanctuary moon. The diplomat badge on her chest, a silver shard once worn by ancient human elders, felt heavier than armor. "Stay behind me," she told the fleeing children, their scales glistening with dust and blood. "You'll be safe once you reach orbit." Her words were calm. Her hands were shaking. The door at the far end of the hangar burst open. Dominion shock troops marched in with rifles that glowed a malignant green. The officer in front sneered. "Stand aside, human. The refugees die first. You die last." Hale stepped forward, raising her hands. "You are violating." The Dominion officer fired. One shot. Clean. Precise. The beam cut through her chest like light through fog. She fell without a scream. The badge shattered on the floor. The children wailed. The Dominion soldiers laughed. And across the galaxy, the last heartbeat of the human species flickered and went out. 2. A signal buried beneath time. 900 light-years away, buried under Earth's mantle, something stirred. In a tomb of black titanium, a machine older than every surviving nation blinked awake. A single red eye rotated, analyzing a data stream older than any living memory. Biometric signature: Hale Lyra terminated. Status: last human confirmed dead. Begin Protocol Ragnarok. Deep beneath oceans, mountains, and ice caps, planetary vaults rumbled. Lights flickered on in colossal chambers that hadn't been touched by sunlight in nearly a millennium. Cryopods, towering, armored, humming with power, began to thaw. One by one. 10,000 in total. Inside each lay a sleeping supersoldier, post-human, gene-forged, engineered for a single purpose if the unthinkable ever occurred. Avenge the fallen. Reclaim humanity's legacy. As hydraulics screamed and stasis mist rolled across steel floors, the vault's AI whispered in a tongue no living species remembered. Eric Voss. Awaken. 3. The man who wasn't human anymore. The first pod cracked open with a thunderous hiss. A tall figure stepped out, muscles braided with luminous threads, neural ports glowing beneath his skin. His eyes snapped open with a predatory precision that made the nearby machines recoil. Commander Eric Voss, Prototype 0, opened his mouth for the first time in 9 centuries. His voice was a storm made of grief and metal. Report. The Vault AI responded instantly. Humanity is extinct. The last ambassador has fallen. Protocol Ragnarok is active. The room fell silent. Voss lowered his head. Not in shock. Not in denial. But in something far more dangerous. Understanding. Behind him, thousands of other pods were opening, their occupants awakening like ancient gods remembering the taste of war. Voss clenched his fist. Power crackled across his arms like lightning starving for a storm. Then the galaxy, he said quietly, will learn what becomes of those who murder my people. 4. And Earth began to wake. All across the sleeping planet, systems that had not stirred in an age began to ignite. Orbital lances powered up. The Black Fleet rose from oceanic vaults like sea-bound titans. Mountain guns rotated toward the sky. Humanity's death had been the key. Now vengeance was the lock opening. The last line of the chapter. Earth opened its eyes for the first time in centuries, and the galaxy trembled. The vault of ashen horizon stretched for miles beneath Earth's cracked crust, a labyrinth of steel arteries and humming reactors. Columns of cryopods lined the chamber like monuments to forgotten legends, each one containing a sleeping god of war. Now, one by one, they awoke. Steam burst from pod seams, rolling over the floor like low storm clouds. Alarms chimed softly, almost reverently, as systems recognized each soldier's return to consciousness. Eric Voss walked between the thawing giants, his steps echoing across the chamber. He was not the biggest among them. He was not the strongest, but he was the first, the prototype, the template from which every other Titan had been designed. Where he walked, systems adjusted. Lights brightened. Doors opened. The vault itself recognized him, its rightful master. A Titan named Cade staggered from his pod, shaking off a millennium of sleep. His voice was gravel beneath thunder. "Commander, it's been too long." "Too long," Voss agreed. "And too late." He didn't have to explain. Every Titan had a core memory feed, an in-brain archive directly linked to Earth's AI. Each one saw, instantly, painfully, the extinction of their creators. Some dropped to their knees. Others punched steel walls with enough force to warp them. One roared so loudly the vault trembled. But none of them cried. Titans had been engineered without tears. Grief, for them, was expressed in violence. To the Hall of Founders. The Titans gathered in the central hall, a megastructure carved from obsidian steel and lit by the holographic faces of humanity's greatest scientists, generals, and philosophers. The Founders. They watched silently as their creations assembled for the first time in 900 years. At the center of the hall stood an altar, a circular platform bearing a single object. A folded flag. Worn. Ancient. Human. Eric Voss stepped forward, looking upon it the way a warrior might look upon the bones of a fallen parent. "This flag once flew over worlds," he said. His voice carried through the hall with unnatural clarity. "Now it flies over graves." The Titans bowed their heads. Voss continued, quieter now. "Humanity gave us purpose. Humanity gave us strength. Humanity gave us life." He lifted the flag, letting its frayed edges unfurl. "And now humanity gives us our mission." The chamber darkened. Every hollow face of the Founders dimmed except one, Ambassador Lyra Hale. The last human. Her final recorded message played, her voice warped by static but unmistakably resolute. "If you hear this, it means we are gone. Protect the innocent. Punish the guilty. Do not let the galaxy forget what it did to us." Silence. Then Eric Voss spoke 2 words. "We obey." The Titans answered as one, their collective voices shaking dust from the walls. "We obey." 3. Earth's forgotten arsenal. Far above the awakening legions, Earth itself continued to rise from centuries of unnatural sleep. The Helios orbital solar lances, massive weaponized satellites, unfolded like metallic flowers opening to the sun. The continental railguns extended from the crust, loading shells capable of shattering moons. The Pacific Black Fleet rumbled upward, breaking through ocean surface in a geyser of steam and thunder. 10-kilometer-long dreadnoughts, built when humanity still dreamed of peace through deterrence. Each system synchronized with the Titans below, awaiting orders. A world reborn for war. 4. The Oath of the Fallen. In the Hall of Founders, Eric Voss knelt before the ancient flag. The Titans knelt with him, an army bowing in absolute unity. Voss spoke the oath every Titan had engraved into their genome. "From ashes we rise. From extinction we awaken. We are the hands of the fallen. We are the wrath of the broken. We are the last light of humanity. And its first vengeance." A tremor passed through the ground. The vault doors, each thicker than a fortress, began to open for the first time in centuries. Sunlight pierced the darkness, golden and blinding. One by one, Earth's gods of war stepped into the light of a world reclaimed by nature. Eric Voss looked up at the sky, his expression carved from steel. "Prepare the fleet," he commanded. "We go to war." 3 days after Ambassador Hale's assassination, the Dominion's High Command assembled in the obsidian war chamber of the Throne Fortress. Emperor Vorith leaned forward, claws tapping the table. His voice was sharp enough to cut stone. "Explain the anomaly." A trembling scientist displayed a star chart. Earth, long labeled extinct human zone, was now pulsing with impossible readings. "Energy output is rising exponentially," the scientist stammered. "Orbital signatures, planetary shields, something is." Vorith slammed his fist on the table. Earth is dead. Humans are extinct. There is nothing left to wake. The scientists swallowed. Excellency, we detected the resurrection of a Class A mega fleet. Silence. General Kalor snarled, impossible. Human ships decayed centuries ago. The chart changed again. A new signature appeared. A dreadnought 10 kilometers long. Black, triangular. Cold as the void. Harbinger 01 online. The generals recoiled. That's a myth, one whispered. A nightmare from the human golden age. Voritha's voice dropped to a low growl. Send a scout fleet. I want visual confirmation. If Earth has truly awakened, the scientist whispered, we may have triggered the very thing the humans designed to destroy us. Vorith glared at him. Humans are dust. Their machines are relics. Their threats died with them. He had no idea that at that very moment, the ghosts of humanity were preparing to answer his arrogance. 2. The scout fleet arrives. The Dominion scout fleet, 50 ships, exited warp at the edge of the Sol system. Commander Drask stared at his sensors. No life signals. No human activity. It's a tomb world. But then, a ping. Low frequency. Ancient. Human. What was that? His second officer asked. Before Drask could answer, something massive moved in front of their fleet. Not a ship. Not a station. Not anything the Dominion had ever catalogued. A structure the size of a continent, drifting like a dead god wrapped in armor. The Harbinger. The scout fleet froze. Is that? A voice broadcast directly into their minds. A voice thousands of years old. A voice that was not alive but not dead either. Unregistered vessels. This is Earth Defense Sentinel HX-01. State your intentions. The Dominion had no answer. They had come expecting ruins and ashes. Not a living weapon from the age when humanity bent physics into submission. Drask whispered, we fire, we die. We run, we die. His second officer asked, barely audible, what do we do? The answer came too late. The Harbinger opened its eye. 3. The sky burns over Earth. Down on Earth, Eric Voss felt the activation of orbital defenses through his neural link. The Harbinger had detected intruders. He stood atop a cliff overlooking a reborn Earth, wind flowing through forests that had reclaimed cities. Titans stood behind him, armor shimmering in the sunlight. Kate approached. A scout fleet. Dominion. 50 ships. Voss didn't blink. Let the Harbinger decide. The sky turned white as a beam of sunlight condensed into a lance of burning plasma. The solar lance fired. In orbit, the scout fleet evaporated. Not destroyed. Not shattered. Erased. The space where the fleet had been looked as if nothing had ever existed there. The Titans watching from Earth merely nodded. Efficient, Cade said. Practice, Voss replied. 4. The galaxy learns fear again. The Dominion received the last transmission from their scout fleet. One image. Just one. A single still frame of the Harbinger awakening, its colossal eye glowing with power humanity had once used to pacify star systems. The Dominion trembled. Vorith stared at the image for a long, silent minute. Impossible, he whispered. But the truth settled in like ice. Earth wasn't dead. Humans weren't silent. Something older and more terrifying than humanity had survived. A vengeance humanity had engineered. Vorith stood, voice shaking with a fear he had never felt. Call the War Council. Mobilize every fleet. If Earth has returned. He swallowed. Then the Dominion may fall. 5. The Titans prepare. On Earth, Eric Voss turned to his awakening legions. Prepare the Black Fleet. Ready the assault carriers. Calibrate all Neuralink weapons. He looked at the sky. A sky that was no longer peaceful. We strike first. A Titan asked, Where, Commander? Voss's eyes hardened, glowing with cold, metallic fury. Where humanity's last ambassador fell. The Dominion had killed the last human. Now the Titans would return the favor. Not with mercy. Not with negotiation. But with fire. The Pacific boiled. The sea churned as if a leviathan moved beneath it, because one did. A shadow rose from the deep, displacing whole waves as its armored hull broke the surface. Then another. And another. 10 in total, each the length of a small continent. The Black Fleet. Humanity's lost armada. Forged during the apex of the human ascendancy and sealed away when the wars became too devastating to continue. Titans lined the decks, thousands of them, armored in flex steel plate that shimmered like the night sky. Their neural auras glowed faintly, pulsing with anticipation. Commander Eric Voss stood on the forward deck of the dreadnought Nightfall, the flagship of the fleet. Wind whipped across its vast obsidian surface. Kate approached him, helmet under his arm. All systems online. The fleet awaits your command. Voss nodded. Set a course for Asteron 3. Cade blinked. The slave world. Voss's expression didn't waver. That is where Hale died. That is where we begin. The dreadnought's engines ignited, gravity warp turbines spinning up with a thunderous hum that made the ocean tremble. One by one, the Black Fleet rose from Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind streaks of fire and breaking clouds like fragile glass. Earth watched its gods depart. And the galaxy had no idea what was coming. 2. Dominion War Council in chaos. The Dominion throne fortress was chaos incarnate. Holograms flickered. Generals shouted. Advisors screamed warnings. Sensors trembled with readings no one alive had ever seen. Emperor Vorath stood at the center, gripping the rail so hard his claws cracked against it. What is Earth sending? He demanded. The war minister projected the feed into the air. A colossal formation of black dreadnoughts moved through space in perfect silence, each one a cathedral of annihilation. Vorath stared. That cannot be real. It is, Excellency, the minister whispered. The Black Fleet matches ancient human empire schematic. It was believed destroyed in the collapse wars. A junior officer spoke up, trembling. What are their energy signatures? The minister swallowed hard. Planetary class. You mean like a star fortress? Another general gasped. No, the minister replied. Like a small sun. Silence fell over the chamber, crushing and absolute. Vorath finally spoke, voice hollow with dread. Order every legion in the sector to defend Asteron 3. If the humans have returned, we must stop them there. But deep in his bones, even he knew. They couldn't. 3. Arrival over Asteron 3. Asteron 3 was a world built on bones. Literally. Human bones, woven into the foundations of towers, mixed with the mortar of walls, crushed into fertilizer for the Dominion food pit. The Dominion had made it a symbol of human extinction. Now it would become a symbol of something else. Retribution. As the Black Fleet exited warp, alarms screamed across the planet. Unknown contacts. Massive. They're everywhere. Dominion ships scrambled into formation, but their lines looked like toys compared to the titanic vessels descending upon them. Eric Voss stepped forward on the command deck, eyes blazing. Target all orbital chains. No survivors. The Nightfall fired its main cannon. A beam of pure gravitational distortion ruptured through space and erased a Dominion battle station the size of a mountain. The other dreadnoughts followed. The sky over Asteron 3 became a storm of white fire. Dominion ships burst like dried leaves tossed into a furnace. Orbital shields shattered. Defense grids died in seconds. The Black Fleet didn't fight a battle. It performed an execution. 4. Titans hit the ground. Dropships fell from the dreadnoughts like meteors, trailing plasma. On the surface, the Dominion panicked. Ground contact, multiple, hundreds, wait no, thousands. Eric Voss dropped first. He hit the ground like a falling star, shockwaves tearing through the soil. Within seconds, Titans spread across the slave world like a storm front. Dominion war beasts charged them. Titans tore them apart. Shock troopers swarmed defensive lines. Titans blitzed through them like silver lightning. Slave pens were opened. Guards were crushed. Barracks set ablaze. Asteron 3 became a battlefield carved from nightmares. And then Voss found the spot. The exact location where Ambassador Hale had fallen. The ground was still stained dark. He knelt, placed his palm on the soil, whispered, "We are here, Lyra. Humanity stands again." His neural aura burned with fury. He rose, and he unleashed hell. 5. The world is freed in a single night. By dawn, if Asteron 3 had dawns, the world was silent. Dominion forces were dead or fleeing. Slave species gathered in awe around the Titans. Cade approached Eric, wiping Dominion blood from his armor. "It's done, Commander." Voss looked over the burning world. "No," he said. "It has begun." He opened a secure channel. A message broadcasted across the entire galaxy. His voice was cold fury wrapped in steel. "This is Commander Eric Voss of the Human Titans. Earth lives. Humanity awakens. And the Dominion will burn." The galaxy listened, and for the first time in centuries, it felt fear. The Dominion High Command trembled. 12,000 warships, vessels of every class and every age, were mobilized for the final assault on Earth. They moved as one, a tidal wave of metal and fire, intending to crush the planet and erase the returning humans before they could spread further. Emperor Vorith stood at the center of the throne fortress, claws pressed to his forehead. They cannot be stopped," he muttered. "Excellency," a general stammered, "they are not just humans. These are the weapons they left for us to never imagine." Vorith finished for him. The Emperor stared at the sensor feeds. Orbital defenses glowed. Titans lined the planet's surface. The Black Fleet hovered like gods above. He made the command he feared most. "Engage." But even as the Dominion's armada poured into Earth's orbit, the planet was already alive. 2. The fall of the armada. Eric Voss stood atop the Nightfall neural interface linking him to every Titan, every dreadnought, every orbital weapon. "Fire everything," he commanded. Orbital lances ignited like molten stars. Dreadnought cannons tore through space with thunderous resonance. Titans dropped from orbit, each landing creating craters that could swallow cities. The Dominion fleet had prepared for a battle. What they faced was annihilation. Within hours, 12,000 warships were reduced to glowing debris, drifting like dead comets in the void. Vorith's voice crackled across the sensor network. "They are destroying everything." "Yes," Voss replied coldly. "We are reclaiming everything." 3. Emperor versus Wargod. At the center of the ruins, the Emperor fled to his flagship, the Throne of Oblivion. Voss boarded it alone, Titans clearing a path behind him. The Emperor had no weapons capable of stopping a being forged from centuries of human perfection. You cannot kill me," Vorith hissed. Voss's eyes glowed, neural threads dancing across his skin. "I am not here to kill you," he said. "I am here to remind the galaxy what happens when you extinguish humanity." In seconds the duel was over. The Emperor lay defeated, trembling beneath the weight of centuries of arrogance. The galaxy would know fear and respect, once again. 4. The broadcast across the stars. Eric Voss activated the ancient human broadcast array. His voice echoed through thousands of systems. "Humanity is not extinct. We are awake. We are the vengeance of the fallen, and the shield of the innocent. The Dominion has been judged. The galaxy will remember." Every corner of the known systems heard it. Every oppressed species knew humanity had returned. The Titans did not conquer. They liberated. They rebuilt. Where once slavery had thrived, freedom now bloomed. 5. A legacy written in fire. Earth was not the same planet it had been. Cities were rebuilt, forests reclaimed, oceans healed. The Titans patrolled, guardians of a world that had once been slaughtered. Eric Voss stood on a cliff overlooking the new Earth. Beside him, Cade spoke softly. What now, Commander? Voss's eyes glowed, reflecting the dawn. Now, he said, we make sure humanity is never forgotten and never destroyed again. He raised his hand toward the horizon. The sun rose over a world reborn, the light glinting off the armor of Earth's war gods. Humanity did not die. It simply waited, and now it had returned. The galaxy would never be the same.